Monsai Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who rule well, Shalom to the hopeful elect. Now, before I get into this, which is a bit of the family genealogy of E, I have to say one thing. I have finished reading the Bible. Somebody said to read, about I believe 4 chapters, not 4 chapters, but 4 verses a day. Oh no, I do mean chapters. Four chapters a day. And if you do that, you'll be able to complete the Bible in a year. Now, last year, or this year, should I say, was the second time I've read the Bible. And I finished it because what I do is I read the scriptures, then I read the Apocrypha. When reading, truly, you're supposed to read the Old Testament. Finish that, read the Apocrypha, and then get back to the New Testament, because the Apocrypha is meant to be, the period in between both. But it is what it is. So I've read the scriptures, the Bible, and then I read the Apocrypha, and now I'm back, to the Bible again. But before I was reading the Bible and the Apocrypha concurrently together. So I think the last time I read the Apocrypha was my second time. What I'm basically trying to say is, you're supposed to, get into these scriptures, and the more you read, the more you understand. In the same way, you might watch a movie and it's complicated, and you might not see certain things because you're watching it for the first time, but as you understand the ending and you're going back, you can see certain things. Like, this person might have hated, person A might have hated person B, and because they kill him in the end, you realize why they did it in how person B blew off person A, and you start understanding certain things and how certain things add up. You might see something and be like, oh, so that's why that happened at the end. And that's pretty much the same thing with the scriptures. As you go back and you read it over and over again, more things are given onto you. You learn more as you read more. And I was reading Genesis, and this is Genesis 36:12, and Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. So Eliphaz was a son of Esau. I'm not going to get into whose mother Eliphaz was, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek, and these were the sons of Ada, Esau's wife. So Eliphaz came from Ada, Esau's wife, and Timnah, was Eliphaz's wife, and she gave birth to Amalek. So for all intents and purposes, Amalek comes from a concubine, and there's no big deal. Can't remember exactly which families they were, but I believe Dan and Naphtali came from a concubine. Can't remember whether or not it was Leah's handmaiden or Rachel's handmaiden, but it is what it is. So this is where Amalek comes from, and it says here in Genesis 36:31, and these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before they reigned any king over the children of Israel. Now where is it? Yeah, I'm going to start at the beginning here, 26. And the children of Dishdan are these, Uz and Aaron. These are their dukes that came of the Horites. Duke Lotan. So, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibion, so on and so forth. So you can see from the scriptures that, pretty much the idea of dukes and kings, was something that was first seen in the house of in the house of Edom. And if you go into the word duke here, which is funny because these people say the scriptures aren't true, but if you look into British history, you can see they're the only group of people who've had dukes. A duke can either be a monarch ranked below the emperor/king and grand duke ruling over a duchy, or a member of royalty or nobility historically of highest rank below princes of nobility and grand dukes. So it says a duke can either be a monarch or ranked below the emperor or the king or the monarch. And if you look into these families, don't really want to, the Rothschilds and all of them, they would be what you consider to be dukes of Edom. I'm pretty convinced that they are dukes, and they're pretty much on the same level as a monarch. But when you really look into how these people move, you understand that these people are actually above them. So it just shows you how these people have created a system where the dukes are above the king, and they definitely are dukes of Edom, and it definitely does come from the house of Esau. Going to the definition of duke: a male holding the highest hereditary title in the British and certain other peerages. The fist, especially when raised in a fighting attitude, fight it out. And this pretty much he snitching on himself, because it shows when you read the scriptures, it talks about Esau being a base man and a carnal man, and a man of violence. And the word duke means to fight out. Let's duke. When you watch some old movies, they'll be like, we're gonna duke it out, and then they turn around and start fighting. So that's he pretty much snitching on himself. They're the dukes. Their whole thing is creating violence in the earth. And if you look at all these pictures of these dukes, come on, got this guy here with his fists up, because this is what he really is, man. This is his history. That's his history. That's who he really is, And you can see the little family stuff. If you go to First Samuel chapter 8, because as you can see, these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. And this is, you can just see how Israel fell. And it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abiah, and they were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, money, and took bribes and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah. And they said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, and all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. So pretty much that's one of the reasons where Israel is in this predicament, because we had the Lord as a king over us, over Israel. I like to say us, I'm I like to be of the hopefully elect. I really come from Ham, and you're not supposed to be in that spirit. You're supposed to operate on faith, so on and so forth. But I don't really like exalting myself. At the end of the day, the Lord's gonna come back and He's gonna separate the wheat from the tears. But I like to watch how I speak and not really try to exalt myself too much. And pretty much, that's where it is. Israel was supposed to have a priest ruling over them, but they decided to have a king over them, and that was pretty much acted in the same way that he acts, which is exalting other people over other people. And it's not really supposed to be that. It's supposed to be Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and then King David and pretty much everybody else after that. But that was done in the spirit at the end of the day. It is where it is. The Lord, the Lord's busy, man. The Lord got things to do. You don't really have time to, and at the end of the day, that's how the Lord set it up, because we're really supposed to be looking after the earth, not these people. And Yahweh Shai is meant, Yahweh is meant to be king of all. But at the end of the day, He gave the earth onto man to look after and to manage. And to be able to manage something, you need to understand the good and the bad of things. So at the end of the day, this thing went sideways, but it's all in the hope of building up Israel to be able to, rule, and seeing how these dukes rule, and how they rule on the left and how they create all this violence. It's basically you eating of the fruit and you seeing, good and evil. Because these people are pure evil, man. They're literally the epitome of violence. Their name, their dukes. Their name means to fight it out, and these people are the most violent, vile people on the earth. So it's really for to Israel to look at these people and understand, that this is not the way to rule, which is pretty obvious, and to learn from these people's mistakes and to be totally adverse. This is why you're supposed to separate yourself from these people, spiritually, and as much as you can. We use this word as not abusing it, but when you go into the history of these people, man, the scriptures tell you everything that these people are. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honest to the apostles of James who were well. Shalom to the elect.